Hi, I'm Maggie, your LUNA Astrology Ambassador. In this video, I'll show you how to interact with your charts in Luna so you can access in-depth information easily and quickly. When you hover your mouse over any point, any planet on the chart, you will see it's a very subtle difference, but you'll see that it kind of boldens that particular point, planet, midpoint. That's Luna's way of letting you know that this part of the chart is interactive. So let's start with a very simple example. Let's click on the moon in this chart. With one click, it will kind of clear everything else away that doesn't have a direct relationship going on with the moon. That makes it really easy to see just exactly what is going on with the moon without anything else kind of clogging up your view or adding confusion to the chart that you're looking at. You are able to see all of the other parts of the chart that are interacting with that selected point. If you move forward and backward using the space-time navigator, you will see that aspects change as the moon moves through the sky. This will do this with any point, any planet that you select with one click. It makes it easy to see aspects up here and disappear. I just love it. After clicking on that glyph twice, whether it's a planet or a point, we'll give it a second click, you get a data card that appears. Right up at the very top, it tells you what the planet is or the point that you're working with. Here we have the moon. It tells you that this is a transits chart, which makes it really easy if you're using biwheels. It'll tell you the degrees, the sign, the mode or the quality, the element, whether it's in direct or retrograde motion, the house that it's in. And as we continue to go down through this data card, more information becomes available. So this is wonderful if you are a new astrologer and you're still learning what the symbols mean and what different planets represent. But it's also really useful if you're a seasoned astrologer and maybe you want if you want to jog your memory or if you want a different perspective on something. So we can click on the planet, we can click on the sign, we can click on the house, and a little drop down will appear that gives you a little bit more in-depth information. It's so handy to have that. We'll click on the house as well. Oh, I just love it. It'll give you little like keywords, key phrases. It's good for everybody, whether you've been doing this for a long time or you're brand new. Below that, we can go to Event Navigator and start to go forward and back, and it will tell you the day and the time that this point or planet changes signs. That's super handy. So you don't have to get out your ephemeris. You don't have to stop what you're doing in order to look up different information. We'll also give you the coordinates if you want to get really specific, the ecliptic coordinates, the equatorial coordinates. It just has everything that you could possibly need. If you continue to scroll down, it will give you aspects between the moon and the other points that are in the chart. If some information looks cut off, don't worry. You can simply scroll to the side back and forth, and then you'll be able to view all of the columns with all of their amazing information. To close this data card, you can either press Escape, the X button up at the top, or the Close button at the bottom. Now let's look at an aspect. So how do you bring all the other planets back? Good question. We're going to go to the top part of the chart where it says moon. It's got the symbol. We'll click on that, and that brings all of the other characters back onto the screen. So let's I want to focus on this Uranus-Pluto trine. So let's do the one click so we can get that aspect a little bit more visible. And we'll click on the actual aspect by clicking on the line in the middle part of the chart. That will bring up a data card, just like the chart points that we just looked at. It gives you a little bit more information. So it'll tell you specifically what's going on right now. It's a waxing separating trine. It's a transit chart. It's involving the planets Uranus and Pluto. It tells you when it was perfected, and then orb, arc, and just all the information that you could possibly want. This is really helpful, again, if you're learning what these symbols mean, or it makes things a bit easier um, to visually see. You can kind of clear out and select the information that you are specifically wanting to examine at the given moment. So let's close this, and we'll bring all of the planets back by clicking on this Uranus trine Pluto symbol in the top. So Luna doesn't automatically display midpoints. I do have the midpoint between sun and moon turned on right now, but if you don't, we will come to this info panel at the top where we've got this midpoints section. We're going to click on that, and then you can scroll through all the different options and turn on or off the midpoints that you would like to see in the chart. I'm going to leave this on. And before you go back to that chart, be sure to update the preferences so it makes sure to take note of the change that you made. You can tell the midpoint because it's this nice subtle dot in between the two planets that I have selected. When I click on it, again, we get this really nice data card. So that first click zeroes it in on these two planets. That second click is what brings up the full information, the full data card. It shows the planetary pair. We've got the sun moon midpoint in a transits chart. Shows that it's fixed, it shows that it's air, and then it shows the aspects going on. Midpoint aspects, again, are not drawn directly on the wheel, so you won't see any of these indicated on the chart itself. That would be a lot of information. So this just makes it a little bit easier for you to know without having to see the relationships, the geometry between the planets. They are all listed here in the data card. And again, you can scroll side to side in order to read all of the wonderful columns of information. Finally, let's see how this works in a biwheel. So I'm going to bring up a chart, and we'll bring the transits to the chart. So we have two charts. We've got a chart in the middle, and then the transits chart around the perimeter. I have a natal chart in the inside and transits on the outside. If I selected the sun in the natal chart, let's click on it, that single click, it gives me clues about not only what the interactions were between the natal planets, so we can see that there is a trine between natal sun and natal Mars. That line will be a bold line, a solid line. To see relationships between natal planets, so natal sun, and transiting Jupiter, that line is a dashed line, a dotted line. So it just helps to distinguish the different relationships we have going on between the planets. Again, I can click on the aspect itself, and it will bring up a data card. If I instead click on the sun in the transiting chart, the one around the perimeter, it will give me those relationships between transiting sun and whatever natal planets it's interacting with, as well as whatever transiting planets it is interacting with. When, again, just for emphasis, just for clarity, when the transiting planet is interacting with the natal planet, it will be a dotted line. When the transiting planet is interacting with a transiting planet, it will be a solid line. LUNA's data cards are designed to make learning and exploring charts intuitive, whether you're working with a single wheel or multiple charts at once. Thank you so much for watching. If you have any questions, please put them in the comments down below, and then be sure to like, subscribe, and follow along for more LUNA tutorials.